Good morning, everyone. If you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. It is October 8th, Monday. This is 2014.
December.
What did I say?
October.
Oh, wow. All right. Time to get caught up. It's December.
Gives you plenty of time to Christmas.
Exactly. This is the Broadwater County Commissioners' General Business Meeting. Before we get started, we have a little bit of housekeeping. We have a Broadwater County Public Meeting Policy and follow Robert's Rules of Order. The purpose of this policy is to open all Broadwater County meetings to all citizens. We realize we have a fiscal and fiduciary responsibility to conduct county business as efficiently as possible for all our residents. Commission meetings are recorded and are on YouTube, so please state your full name for the public record before giving any public comment. Any separate conversations need to be removed from the meeting and conducted outside. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Public comment will give each person who wishes to speak an initial 3 minutes to do so, and all comments should be directed to the board chairman. So, with that, 10 o'clock, any public comment this morning? Public comment? All right, how about Montana Minute? Franklin, you have anything for us?
Well, on the news yesterday, you know, we're coming here at this time of year. December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day.
You stole mine,
Oh,
so.
did I? Well, you can finish up.
No, go ahead.
I won't have
I
too
just
much.
had a
Other than, you know, the lives that were lost there, and you think of how many lives have been lost since then to keep our freedom continuing.
Well, it's been 73 years since Pearl Harbor was invaded and World War II. And I just say hats off to all those that were involved, that protected all of us, and made sure that we all had freedom. So hats off, guys.
Ditto, yeah. Montana has more service people per capita than any other state in the Union. Yep, for such a small state, we have quite a presence in the military. Just a couple of things. The governor signed an executive order with the Department of Ag, DNRC, weed coordinators on Thursday to form a council to address invasive species. This has been 6 years in the works. It's kind of a big deal. Scott asked me to attend to represent the commission on Thursday, and that was a lot of fun. It's always fun when you get what you want. And then, other than that, I think that's it. Any Montana Minute from the public? 10 minutes? All right. First order of business is taking care of business from last week. We have the minutes of December 1, 2014.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 1st.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the minutes of 12/1, 2014. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thanks, Ann. Next, I guess item I wanted to address, as we have Dana here, is the Goose Bay discussion of last week. I saw Sean Bryant of Department of Reclamation, Bureau of Reclamation, at the Missouri River Fund meeting last week, and he said he talked to you, Franklin?
Yeah,
So what
set up
did you
for
guys-
the 15th at 1:30 for them to be here. And mentioned about the billings office, and said this acting director there now is from the billings office, so apparently you'll be here with him.
So will this acting director have authority, or do we need somebody else from the billings office?
Well, he's from there, he's probably got as much authority as anybody from there. It's all gonna end up probably coming out of Denver anyway, but, I'm assuming this guy has most authorities anyway.
We'll need the Billings office support to get it to Denver, so that's why it's so important. So, we
And
will.
when I mentioned it to Sean, he says, I forget his name now, I said, he is from the Billings office, so
Okay,
I said, that sounds good to me.
if you can get his name, we need it for the agenda. And then, we'll also contact Sean Higley to be here for that. Dana, does 1:30 next Monday work for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I contacted Dana and told him.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. And if you do want to follow up with the gentleman you talked to in Billings also, and let him know who all is coming, and let him make the decision if he wants to come as
Yeah,
well.
whatever.
Okay, sounds good.
I haven't
The other
talked to
thing,
him last week, so.
what's that?
Well, that Brent Esplin. Yeah,
Exactly,
I haven't talked to him last week, just on some other stuff, but, yeah, I can get a hold of him,
okay.
if you want to, whatever.
I'm just thinking, let's put it in their court if they think they need to be here. You know, if, I don't know what the relationship is,
I don't either.
but we want as much support from Billings as possible.
Yeah.
But we don't wanna duplicate it. So they
Yeah,
kind
whatever.
of think,
Yeah,
no,
thank you.
okay. The other thing is I think we should have a letter ready to go on Goose Bay, stating what our position is and what we're looking for so that we can expedite this. Do you guys see any reason to wait?
No.
Any arguments for writing a letter after the meeting?
It'd probably be good to have one ready, I guess, if you wanna do that. I mean, I've got one kinda, but it's not probably suitable for what we're looking at right now.
Madam Chair, there's be nothing wrong with ours being ready and just not give it to them until the end.
Right, and what they're gonna
Depending on how
do,
it all goes.
right. Every single time we've met with them, they've said, send us a letter. So that's my thinking is,
And it would be better coming from you guys.
oh, and it should, absolutely.
You know, I mean, you carry a lot more weight than I do.
Sure, I think an accompanying letter from you would be fine. It's not necessary, we can put you on with ours.
Yeah, well,
But it should come from the commission first.
yeah, I think so too.
Okay. Who wants to write this letter? It's in your district, and Franklin, you kind of took charge of this last week with Dana. What do you guys think?
Do you
Well, I
want
think
to,
it's good to have a letter, yeah.
yeah, do you want to take the first shot at it, being as you've talked to them, and I don't know what all's been said between?
I don't.
Come on.
I don't.
And then I'll take it after, if you email it to me after you get yours.
Well, I'll get with you on it, I'll just make some
You
ideas.
can't meet, the two of you, so you can only get with her through email, and I'd like the copy as well to also offer edits. And the three of us will need to vet it before next Monday.
Yep.
So, really email's the only legal way to go.
Yeah, we can't be in person.
No. All right, so,
Well, just on the letter, all we're doing is talking about it.
excuse me?
I mean,
And Franklin, it's still open meeting laws. You just can't do it. It's open meeting laws. Emails,
Never mind,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
never mind.
Okay, so that's settled in. Moving on, it's almost 10:15.
It's settled that I'm gonna write the letter,
Excuse me?
that's what you're saying. It's not settled that I'm writing the letter.
No, you're gonna do the first draft and email it to us. We're all gonna offer edits, and it's gonna be vetted by the full commission for proposal on Monday. Is that doable by the commission?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, Franklin?
I don't care.
Okay, thank you.
Well, because I would like to see, what's been said in advance.
We have to. We cannot propose a letter at a public meeting to the
No.
entity without it having been vetted by the full commission. And that's, again, open meeting laws. So, all right,
Can I add one more Montana minute?
Yes.
Pass that.
please.
Hats off to the wrestling team. They got a third place this week.
Good for
And
them.
they're just getting started.
Excellent.
And some of those boys are, I'm sure, very tired because just coming off of football. So you're way into a new sport, and guess what? Winning ways again.
Wow, that is cool.
Mhm.
That is very cool. Thank you for interrupting and sharing that. That's well worth an interruption.
Sorry, sometimes it's Monday, it's night, and it's foggy. think it's really important that we support the kids of this community.
I agree.
They're the next generation that's gonna take care of us.
Absolutely. All right, Brian, I'm gonna go ahead and call you up next. Brian Holland, Solid Waste Supervisor, monthly update.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hats off to you, guy.
We had a good weekend.
You did have a
We
good,
would like to have had a little better weekend, but
it was a good place to start.
made a silly mistake on Friday in the semifinals. Ended up getting third, so he did the best he could.
And learning from that mistake, hopefully
Yes, he
we'll
did.
get it.
We have had an interesting month since the last time I was here. Our wheel loader decided to give us some problems. It spent the last couple of weeks in the shop. We sent it into Helena to Cat to work on, and they called up and said, you know, you were about 2 weeks away from a catastrophic failure of that thing. That the undercarriage, the rear differential just about fell off it. So, we rebuilt the motor last year. We got the undercarriage rebuilt this year. We've got new brakes on the front and back. For a 40-year-old machine, that should get us through for a few more years. So, it's getting more difficult to find parts for that thing, but they were able to do it and get it back together for us. I have no idea what this little episode cost us. I haven't got the bill for it yet, but we've got a loader that runs, and it should get us by for a while, so.
How old is it?
It's 40 years old.
Oh, it is.
It's a 1974 model. So,
Wow.
and I don't think Caterpillar really wanted their equipment sticking around that long.
I don't know. There's no
Oh,
doubt.
no, they could advertise.
But
You know, perhaps we should be kind of keeping our eyes open for something.
I get notices on auctions and that kind of thing pretty regular, so.
40 years is pretty darn good.
We don't use it a lot, but when we do use it, it's very handy, so. We do have our eyes open looking for something else to replace it with, but it should get us through a few more years anyway, so. I've been working on the information I received from the Department of Revenue on who's paying solid waste fees and who isn't. I've gone through about half of their list, and I've come up with about $10,000 in additional revenue that was not being billed that should have been. That's fairly significant. And, at some point, we need to come up with a better way of getting those people on the solid waste rolls quicker. You look at the tax roll and you see a piece of property that has $100,000 worth of improvements on it, and there's no solid waste fees. It should be a pretty easy thing for them to figure out it's a house and add fees. If they're waiting for us to tell them to add solid waste fees, then I need to be brought into that loop quicker. And that's the question I've had with them all along, is who clicks the button that says charging solid waste fees? And I've never gotten an answer. They say, well, you do. I said, no, I don't. I have no idea. So we need to work on a way to fix that. And the solid waste board's looking at it too, trying to come up with a way to take care of that.
Judy Tice with Department of Revenue will be here next week. Are you interested in being here for that as well?
I might sit in
Okay.
just to see what she has to say.
All right, 11:30.
Okay. That's next Wednesday? Is that
Next Monday. 15th.
Okay. Another issue that came to us on the solid waste board is, had a citizen call up and ask what our rules were about shooting from a canister site. And all the research I've done is we don't have any. I brought it up with the solid waste board, and they said, well, it's probably not a good practice to allow. My question would be, can we do that through department policy and just put signage up that says no shooting from canister sites? Or do we need to go through the resolution process to do that? To make it an official rule that we don't allow shooting from our canister sites?
Common sense would say it's departmental.
I would think we could do it through
Decision.
signage and, you know, just like a landowner does, you know, spray paint fence posts or whatever.
Yeah,
I would think it would be just as easy to do that, than go through the resolution process to take care of it. But,
yeah.
there was an issue out at Dry Gulch. People pulled up on top of the canister site and shot a deer across the gulch. And there was
Do they have
trespassing.
landowner permission?
Well, that's what got it brought up, is there was trespassing issues, and the sheriff was involved, the fishing game was involved, it turned into a pretty big deal, and they asked, well, what's your rule on shooting from a canister site? And I said, well, it's public land, but, you know, to say no shooting from canister sites is probably a departmental issue, and I didn't know if we had an answer to that, but we didn't, so.
Would you double check with Carla just in case?
We
Common
will
sense
get an
is not
answer.
easy. All right.
Another thing the solid waste board was interested in is, we've been beating the bushes for quite a while to try and find a couple more people to be on the board. I think the current resolution says we have a 5-member board. We were wondering if we could modify that to make it a 3 to 5-member board with a 3-person quorum. That way we don't have to worry if we're being legal without having those 2 extra members. Because, you know, everybody that asked us said, no, I'm not interested, or they don't have time, or whatever. But if we could just modify that resolution to allow for a 5-member board, but continue to operate with a 3-member quorum, that would be probably the best solution to that. So we could take care of that if we want to.
Absolutely. Nicole is working on boards right now
Okay.
for a proposal before the end of the year, hopefully. I would say talk to her, but we've done that with other boards. It's a pretty easy solution. We just make a public announcement and put it in the agenda. You guys have any thoughts on that?
I think it makes sense.
No.
Okay, we'll take care of that. And the last thing I have is, we're going to have a solid waste board. Was supposed to be Christmas party, but it's going to be a party between Christmas and New Year's.
Nice.
You guys are all invited. It'll be on the 30th at Betsy. Betsy Kitchen is doing the cooking. You and your spouses are more than welcome to attend.
At what time?
Probably about 6. We'll gather up about 6, probably about 6:30
In the back room?
in the back room.
Okay.
And other than that, I think everything else is fine for you. You'll
Excellent.
notice the house on the corner of Pine and C Street is gone, behind
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain Supply.
Yeah.
That disappeared on Friday. So, I know where it's at.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
You won't be returning, huh?
Bob Chamberlain with Bob's is doing some work there. They got rid of the house there. I think Rocky Mountain Supply is gonna take that lot over,
Okay.
but, it was one of the projects we had going on this last week. So there's lots of that kind of cleanup stuff going on right now. It's good for us.
Snow removal? Thank
Snow
you
removal
very
was-
much. Huge help.
It was a funny thing, when it snows, there's not much garbage to deal with, but there's a lot of other stuff to do, so. And that's what I told the guys at CAT when we took our loader in. I said, he says, well, it might take a week or 2 to get this back to you. I said, it'll be fine as long as we don't get any snow. And sure enough, we got snow. Up on the hill was kind of a pain without having our loader. Had to have a line plant come down and pull me back in one day with the semi. And then we had to use the excavator to spread some gravel so we could get back up the hill one day, which it's not the preferred method to do that way. it takes a while.
Right.
So we got through it, and we got our loader back now, so everything should be good for a while.
I came into work one morning and Brian and crew are out here in the parking lot, clearing the parking lot, and found out later that you guys had done the sidewalks as well to help Mike. So, what part
Yeah,
of,
we brought our skid steer over with the broom on it. It works pretty good for clearing that lot.
yeah,
As long as you don't get a lot of snow. If you get a lot of snow, nothing works really well.
sure.
But we ran into problems with where to put the snow.
Yeah, of course, there's one problem or another.
But it did work pretty well. It works really well for parking lots. It's a little big for sidewalks, but like the one out in the front, it works well for it. But the parking lot stuff, it works really good for it. And the senior citizen center was happy we did theirs too. It cleared that parking area out so they're not slipping and falling.
Yeah, that's important.
And it doesn't take us long to do it, so
That's a huge help.
good.
Did you guys also, did I see you helping with the pre-Christmas stroll? Or was that the city crew?
The city crew did most of
Okay.
that.
All right,
We didn't get involved with that too much.
okay. Did I see any road? Did I see you guys? Okay, then it was just city crew, not just, but it was, all right. Well, thank you,
You
though,
bet.
anyway, both of you, I know you partner a lot, and that is greatly appreciated and
I
saves
look
the
at it as
taxpayers
we all are
money.
in the same boat together.
Absolutely, yeah,
Um,
Everybody has the same goal.
We hope they do.
absolutely.
Anything else?
Not from me, anything more from the board?
Mhm.
No, all right,
And I'll be on my way.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
And I'll probably see you next week to hear what Department of Revenue has to say.
Perfect. You won't have a solid waste board meeting this week?
No.
Okay, just the
No, we'll meet
Christmas.
on the, well, we won't meet, we'll just have our dinner on the 30th.
All right, sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you.
you bet.
All right, we're a little ahead of schedule, so we'll go ahead and do some mail. I'm gonna jump to items for signature. This one, if you could give your John Hancock, I think that's the only one here.
Yeah, Laura,
Yes,
I
sir.
know it's not my meeting day here, but can I had
Absolutely,
something
you
come up
can.
this morning.
Yes.
Bill Duty called on this ditch thing out here, and they got cleaned to across Shipman's property to Jack Farm Road. And he wanted me to come out and look at that culvert with him. They were talking about they might have to lower that pipe out on Jack Farm. So I went out and met with Bill, and they haven't, got it cleaned up above there, or down below, or up above it yet. But he was suggesting that, they might need to lower that pipe, so that's gonna consider cutting the blacktop, closing the road, dropping the pipe, and all that. So, in this whole project of things, I don't see where it's county's responsibility to pay for any of that. It's their ditch, they're doing the cleaning, they're doing the project. So I mentioned to Bill that I'm not, it's not up to us to pay to do that stuff. So anyway, we got in a little bit of an argument out there about it, and, when, nothing terrible, but Chuck Hahn shows up. Well, Chuck said no, he says, this is ours, if we do this is ours. So, anyway, they're not sure what they're gonna do, they're gonna try to get things done there without dropping that pipe. So, anyway, I'm hoping they do. I really don't wanna cut that pavement off that road and do that. But, if we have to, we will, but they're gonna end up paying for it, if they do. And I agreed to, go ahead and laying the asphalt out in it, the new asphalt, when we go to do that, and making sure it's right. They'll pay for the asphalt and everything, so, if it comes to that. So just so you guys know, you know, I mean, that's kind of where we were at this morning, so. And
I'm
that's-
just kind of wondering if that shouldn't be treated like a private property. It's a district court board.
Yeah.
The supervisor of the board is the district court judge. It's absolutely not a county issue at all.
Well, it's not.
In fact, there's statute that says we cannot put money into it.
Well,
So I
that's-
think the county needs to be completely hands-off unless district court says they can enter into an MOU with us. Don't you
Well-
guys?
Mhm.
Yeah, and I mean, I agreed to take and make sure the pavement and everything was right, you know, they pay for everything. You know, the digging and dropping the pipe and they pay for the asphalt, they just, I told them that we would go in and lay it down, take the roller out, pack it down, you know, so they weren't gonna mess with that, so. I don't see a problem with that.
Well, I support what you've said. I don't think it's a county.
Well, I don't think it is either.
In fact, I don't think we can
I mean, I was,
assist with it.
I don't think it'd be any different than if I had them come to the ranch and do
I
that.
I
I
think
mean, it's a
so.
private thing.
Mhm.
well, usually anybody's irrigation pipe that crosses county road or anything, it's theirs. I mean, if they use that for irrigation, you know, it's pretty much their pipe. So,
And it should be,
well, I think so too. It's kind of like a driveway,
yeah.
so. But anyway, just so you know,
All
I can't
right.
imagine they'd have to drop that, but I don't know what they're doing there for sure.
well, see, and I looked at it a little bit, you know, where they've got dug to off of Shipman's, right to the end of it, they've got a bunch of stuff on the downhill side of it. And once they clean that out, you know, I think they'll be good. But on the upper end of it, you know, Chuck was looking at it and so was Andy and Andy Bruce. And, you know, to me, it looks like it's fairly good up above it. And I think they can just kind of start taking down what they got to take down, but, you know, they've got 3-foot pipe in up above there through Shipman's. It's, you know, I know there's 3-foot pipe all the way through that thing, but they're putting 4 feet in some of it. And I don't think they're gonna put 4 feet, you know, 48-inch pipe on up above, so. Guess I don't know why not. If you change the pipe, change the pipe.
Yeah. Their biggest problem is there, round man's that approach through there, and that pipe,
Yeah.
and where it goes down into the, underneath the.
Yeah. And then down at the mill, they got problems with the mill. I was out there looking at that today too, you know, and there's, that one pipe looks like it's where it comes underneath between the office and the planer out there. Yeah, I mean, it's just smashed. It's either smashed or they've got it pushed so far down into the mud that, I mean, it's that far from coming over the bank down there. You know, and that's where they need some attention, it looks to me like too, but anyway. So, anyway, just wanna make sure you're aware of that, just in case
Thank you.
something comes up. So,
Good to know.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. Thanks, Dana.
Thanks, Dana.
All right, here is the updated org chart. We did vote to sign it with the error corrected, but I wanted to bring it by your attention first.
My understanding that Brian Christensen is no longer with us.
As of this date, there's no other changes to personnel, I understand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think just a verbal that you guys still concur would suffice since we've already voted.
You want a motion then?
Yeah, for double, just to be on the safe side.
I make a motion that we adopt the org chart, the current org chart.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the org chart as stated and updated per the updated date of 11/24. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
So is that recorded in the recorder's office?
Have we recorded it in the
I
past?
don't believe we've recorded in the past,
Okay,
available in your office or.
yeah. Yeah, I'll just double check with Harold that it doesn't need to be, and if not, we'll continue the status quo, if so, we'll have it recorded. We have, from PILT, the water sewage garbage for the ambulance building, that is temporarily housing extension. And that's part of our deal. Part of the agreement is we'll pay that.
I make a motion that we pay the City of Townsend for water, sewage, and garbage for the ambulance building from PILT.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to pay the water sewage, et cetera, for the extension office from PILT of $64.80. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Do you want this one? Okay. And claims, these are the approved claims from last week of $64,397.47.
I'll make a motion to pay the approved claims of 64,000 plus.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to pay the approved claims of $64,397.47. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. There you go. Next, we have a letter. This was in response to an email received from Steve Kavanaugh, and they are requesting also to have back taxes reimbursed for unsold subdivided lots. Per Susan Swimley, this is the letter that we agreed to, and the process we agreed to, that any citizen who wants a refund of their taxes must follow the tax appeal board process as set up by state statute. And it's the same letter we sent to Broadland, just changing the address and the date.
Just Kavanaugh, live in Sydney, huh?
I don't know, where is that now? Is that what it says?
Montana, huh?
Must be there.
I suppose you're getting on with your almonds over there.
Mm-hmm. You're not surprised, are you? I'll make a motion that we approve and sign the letter to Mr. Kavanaugh.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the letter
Sign
to
while you're there.
Steve Kavanaugh per his email request. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Just a couple of questions, updates. The TV district, also an issue with Department of Revenue. There's several lots without homes that are being assessed TV district fees. So open lots are being assessed TV district fees. Probably we should have a policy, it's, again, seems like common sense to me, but I believe we should have a policy that states lots without homes at all are not assessed the fees. If a lot is home to, you know, a seasonal trailer or a seasonal home, then yes, it is. What do you guys think?
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, I will go ahead and draft a policy on that, possibly a resolution, see what we need through the county attorney, and bring that forward. And we do have a meeting for Wednesday, which is a regular meeting day. It's been posted for this morning. Mike Myers wants to talk to us about the bids, and we have an issue with the Rocky Acres boarding of the horses that needs to be discussed ASAP.
My understanding, they all but had him cornered. The
What's
gentleman, the horse whisperer.
Oh, I don't know.
What's that again?
I heard that they all but had him cornered not too long ago,
Oh,
about a week ago.
Maybe that's what, I don't know.
I don't either, I just know that somebody, I better not say, I'll get it screwed up, but somebody noticed him and they checked out, and sure enough, it was, but when they looked to get him, he was gone
Huh,
again,
okay.
so.
Yeah, it's interesting, there's a lot of moving parts with that. The other update is mental health will no longer be, as soon as they figure out the logistics of moving, they do have an office in the professional building, and we'll be moving over there, so the commissioners will no longer have an office mate downstairs.
And I think it makes sense, because that's more of a private thing,
Mhm.
and people to come in to meet with them, which is great, but they shouldn't be afraid in front of everybody to do it.
Right, yeah, it was always intended to be a Band-Aid,
Mhm.
very temporary until they could find a place. It's worked well, they've been able to, you know, several different entrances, you could be going anywhere, but it is inconvenient to share an office with anybody in that case, so, that's good development, I think.
Good
So-
for everybody.
Exactly. All right, regular mail, couple of things. We did send a letter to John Wright, and that was returned to sender, but Alan called last week and requested a copy of the letter, and did give him a copy of the letter. So, if we need to personally hand it, we can, but we do have evidence that we did try. And his son does have a copy now. This is from Montana DPHHS, Department of Public Health and Human Services, Montana State Aging Plan redesignation. Under section MCA 52-3-405, we have to reallocate who we will be working with for senior services on a, I think it's a 4-year basis. The following are the options you may consider in this redesignation process for the fiscal years 2016 through 2019. We need to do this, finish it by the end of the year, by the end of January 31, 2015, so that Agency on Aging can make whatever arrangements they need to. There's 10 area agencies in the state We are in area 4. Option number 1 is to retain our current area 4 agency on aging. Now, option number 2 is to request another existing planning and service area, but we have to be geographically with somebody that borders us. Right now with area 4, we're with Gallatin County, Lewis and Clark, Jefferson, and Whites and Moore County, so. Yeah, honestly, we do have to justify any changes to this. Option number 3, we'd like DPHHS to consider a new agency for us. Option number 4, we could be designated as our own area on aging, which would probably be quite a hefty check, money-wise. We do have to have a written response, and if we, again, want to opt out of area 4, we do need to have written verification as to why. So, I thought I'd put that on the agenda for next week, unless you guys have any, want more time or have any opposition to that. All right, next we have, this is a support letter from BCDC, Broward County Development Corp., for the decreased speed limit at Winston. And Nicole was gonna follow up with MDT Lealt to make sure we're on the agenda with the Transportation Commission. I just need to follow up with her and get the status of that. Don't think they have a time set up for us yet. We also have from the Mako News, Montana Association of County, this is the 2015 New Year's resolutions, and that was emailed to both of you. Next, we have membership dues to NACCHO, NACCHO, which is the National Association of County Health Offices, I believe. It's $100. Debbie wanted to know if this should go through the Board of Health, or if we wanted to go ahead and approve it on behalf of the Board of Health. And I don't see a date that this needs to be done by.
And what is the amount?
$100.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and pay it.
Good order.
I made a motion to approve to pay that $100 for the Board of Health.
To the Board of Health.
No, for Board of Health to a national organization membership.
Have we been doing that?
Evidently.
Yeah, we've been a member of NACCHO. It was, well, you weren't at the training. It's, or the last Board of Health meeting. It was discussed at both of those, what an asset they are. Julie gave quite a presentation, so did DPHHS at the training on the resources that they offer to local boards of health.
Yeah, I'll second your motion.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the claim and the $100 membership dues for, on behalf of the Board of Health. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Elaine, if you would sign, I will initial. And then I'll just let Debbie know we went ahead and approved it. I'm gonna give you this to, just so that there's record. From BBC Contractors, this is a Christmas card. This is an update from the Department of Military Affairs, Disaster and Emergency Services Division. They have a HMGP grant, which is one that we have put in for in the past and currently right now. The money is provided by FEMA. It's for pre-disaster mitigation, which is a whole lot less expensive than post-disaster cleanup, as we all know. It's a 75 federal, 25% local match, and we can use other matching funds as long as they're not federal. So it's just an update to let us know.
We don't have to do anything.
No. Nope, we have a grant in process, as a matter of fact, right now, which of course was brought to the full commission. This was delivered to you from Denise Thompson, and that is the high tea that we attended, some neat stuff in there. Finally, we have a recap that was put together by Nicole Brown for the county attorney on the meeting with Susan Swimley. I did email a little bit further with Carla, and this is a claim from Browning, Kalachek, Berry, and Hoven. Kalzek, thank you. Berry and Hoven, specifically Troy Benson, with a request for back taxes to be paid. And the reason for the recap is just to fill county attorney in on what the Mako Land Use Attorney said about following the tax appeal board process as set up by the state of Montana.
I should send a copy of this to
Mike?
DES.
I think Mike already got a copy.
Yep, he has. And that was also sent to the three of us already, but I just wanted to be sure everybody got it.
Well, and after my computer being down for 2 weeks without any email, as of Friday afternoon late, I'm up and running again.
Kind of a safe than sorry.
When you see how many junk emails there are to go through, why?
Black Mountain was here on Monday to give further training, specifically with balancing and monthly closeouts, annual closeout, and uploading different information, budgets into the system. So as soon as that is finished with this training, we'll have our quarterly review of the budget. And I'm hoping that can be next week. A lot of that will be online anymore, so I don't know that we'll have the printouts. It's a nice card, isn't it?
It is nice,
Yeah.
and very appropriate with it looking like a quilt.
Yeah. With the new system, we'll be able to actually monitor every department's budget as it happens. So we could monitor weekly where everybody's at. So it's kind of a nice deal.
And wouldn't have to print out.
Exactly. So it'll save some ink, save some paper, save some wear and tear on printers. So we're a couple minutes early for our 11 o'clock. Anything you guys want to add for the order at this point? Any updates or anything?
I don't think so.
All right. I will give a quick update. We have two issues. One is, I went to the Missouri River Fund meeting, this week, and the dams along the Missouri River, except for two, that used to be PPL that are now Northwestern Energy, there's a federal law that states that a certain percentage of the profits need to be put into a recreation fund. So we meet in person once a year, all the different agencies, the counties involved, and allocate those monies from now Northwestern Energy to those projects. They're mostly safety, some sloughing, some erosion, some post-disaster issues. Man Gulch, the campground that leads up there, has been so much sloughing from floods and fire that the drinking fountain is now at ground level. So they're cleaning that up this year. So that was this week, last week.
Kind of on that, our river house down in Jefferson, it's got water all around it right now,
Oh my gosh,
and up to that
Oh,
one
wow.
step.
eek.
Yeah, they move their horses out there and stuff. I guess.
Did they? I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those people should have never built there. In my book, I mean, that, where they build is their own, in my opinion is, it's an accident waiting to happen.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you have to think back to what happened in Missoula where that subdivision went in, got flooded, built in a flood zone, and then sued the county.
Mm-hmm.
Whose fault was this? So, yeah,
But too many people in the world today think it's always the other guy's fault, it's not theirs.
and they sue first, ask questions or look internally
Mhm.
second. The other thing is the safety, committee. I don't know that Brian's gonna call one for this week, but he's been, getting frustrated, and I don't blame him at the lack of support. The safety committee is, one, to save our employees and the public from injury, to try and keep them safe, but also it's a money saver, for the county. So, this commission needs to start showing leadership, for that by showing up in force, by reminding department heads. So, what do you guys think? Do we need to address changing a time? Does Thursdays not work? What do you guys think?
I would like to be notified more than just that day, because if I get an email this morning and I'm busy and haven't seen it until afternoon, then it's too late. So I would like a day in advance.
Okay, all right.
It would make it easier to plan accordingly.
I'm gonna share that. Is the Thursday, second Thursday, or fourth Thursday, are there any days that work better than the current?
Fourth Thursday doesn't work for me, because that's rough.
That's rocky.
Mhm.
It's currently the second Thursday.
Okay. And I understand that you were the lone member to show up last time.
Well, Brian and I were there, and somebody else showed up after we decided that we weren't holding a meeting, so.
Yeah. So the second Thursday is good with you guys? Franklin?
Yeah.
All right. It isn't with me. I've had conflicts the last two with meetings I couldn't get out of, but have been to all the others. So maybe it becomes one of those where initially we will show up in force, and then as we get department heads and electeds committed to attending and following through, that we can trade off.
Is there a chance that we could change the time? Because then that that fourth Thursday would be fine with me.
We can look at that. What time would work?
Rocky starts at 3:30,
Okay, all right.
so if we did it in the morning at 10 o'clock, say, for example, give or take, that would be okay.
One thing with Brian, and this is something that we need to realize, is his work on the safety committee takes time away from his work on solid waste. The alternative, of course, is to hire a new employee, but it's so extremely part-time that doesn't make any sense. He's an excellent one because of his experience for this, but at 3 o'clock, he's off the clock. He's done for the day, so he's putting in overtime for the county on this. So maybe that is something we can talk to him about, is changing the times, maybe a restructuring. He also said the co-chair isn't working because he's doing all the work. So maybe we just need to make him officially the chair.
And who is the co-chair? Mike? Or
It
Scott?
might be Mike and Scott's the co-chair, yeah. So,
Well, I think each department head should do the safety for their department.
that's exactly right, but they're not coming to the meetings.
Well, they don't have to come to me,
They do, Franklin, and we talked about this with Amelia, this has been talked about before, they do.
each department head, they have the policy of what there is for safety, and and either he or she knows more on their department than anybody else does anyway.
Madam Chairman,
Please,
may I speak?
please.
From experience of being the safety person at one point in time, It does not work leaving it up to the individual departments. It needs an umbrella committee over it.
And I think we've seen that over the years. Department heads are so busy getting their work done that it's one of those things that falls behind and gets backburnered. It's our responsibility to put it on the forefront and make sure that it's taken care of before there's accidents. And that's why we have a
Well, it
safety.
isn't working this way either, so I mean, it's a toss-up, I guess.
Well, instead of throwing up our hands in failure, let's go ahead and find a way to make it work, to actually put some effort forward to success.
That's why I say give it to each department head, and they can work right into their regular schedule and stuff, and they're on top of it.
I think that we need the umbrella though, because if, in my, say, I'm Department XYZ, there's a certain problem going on, and I'm not quite sure how to handle it. At the umbrella group, somebody else could say, well, here's what I do.
Yeah, it's
A good place to share ideas.
absolutely. Nobody works in a vacuum in this county. Heck,
No.
nobody does anywhere. We have to work together, we're a team.
Well,
So,
there'd be nothing wrong in having the meetings, but still each department head would handle. If they want to discuss different situations, they can do that in those meetings. If you had like a quarterly meeting or something like that.
so are you on board then with the safety committee, and it meets monthly, and trying to work out a better time that can work with more people? Or is this a 2-0, or 2-1?
Well, I'm on
Effort.
board that each department head handles it for their own, and they still have a quarterly safety meeting to bring up different ideas or discussion. That's my idea on it.
All right, I'm gonna also ask Amelia to come back and talk to us again, to re-educate us on the benefits to the citizens of having a safety committee, the importance to the county employees of having a safety committee.
The
And
importance financially.
absolutely, yeah, and hopefully we can, that re-education from somebody other than us can help our third commissioner to understand. So with that, it's 11 o'clock, annual PILT allocation decision.
Oh. My end card.
I have extras. There you go, Ann. There you go, there's 2 there. This is something we do every single year, with the budget process as soon as it's completed. So what we have is just a real rough sheet of what has been already paid for from PILT. Senior center, public health, safety, detention, commissioners, variety of there since we're responsible for the general fund. Department of the Interior, of course, sent a letter to us all, sent annual letters in which it has been stated that PILT is up to the discretion of the county commission. The only thing that I have heard that we can't spend PILT on is the Lower Deep Creek Drainage Project, because it's a district court issue, which was interesting information. So what we have on the top list is pretty much what we've already put PILT into. The second grouping is our CIPs. And I did also include, and have been asking actually for many years, this is the first year it's been included, but the balance, where are those funds at right now? And then the last group is our annual requests from different boards and groups. So some of the different requests we have the Townsend Volunteer Fire Department. And we have read this before, but I'll read it into the record again, not the full letter, but just the last paragraph. This is from Nathan Chartrand, and he says, I would like to respectfully request, he's the chief, one-time payment of $10,000 to be used to purchase equipment for the new fire apparatus. Current budget funds have provided nearly half of the $20,000 needed to properly equip the new truck. We talked about that before, that's one. We also have a letter from MBAC, Montana Business Assistance Connection, and they say thank you for your support. Here's some of the things that they've done for Broadwater County just last year. 42 commercial loans to regional businesses worth $4 million plus. They've completed 9 commercial loans worth $1.5 million and 4 loans in Broadwater County. Provided individual business counseling to 7 businesses within Broadwater County, including visits from the Montana Region Business Expansion and Retention Team and 2 area businesses. Assisted with required zoning changes for reallocation of businesses in the city of Townsend. Received $320,000 worth of business grants for 4 businesses in the region, with $283,000 for 3 grants in Broadwater County. They worked extensively with Broadwater Health Center to retain jobs in the county. He gives a list of what they've done for the greater Helena region, which of course does affect Broadwater County, as we have many people who work in Helena. Purchased, demolished, and remediated the Carrad Engineering Works and Foundry. Promoted the business incubator with 100% occupancy. Affordable office space for 4 businesses with the addition of 5 jobs in 2014. Received federal grants for the U.S. Economic Development Administration Agriculture and Environmental Protection Agency for economic development planning. Business loans and environmental cleanup of over $500,000. Providing economic and demographic information to several out-of-state businesses to expand into our region. Landing 30 high-tech jobs in the region last year alone. Obtained a grant for the growth policy for our county. And of course, we looked at a grant as well. That was requested that we not pursue it by the planning department. To further, MBAC is, and that was by Sean Higley. To further, MBAC is going to continue to build on past successes and fine-tuning economic development efforts, continuing to support natural resource extraction in the area, assist with the Department of Transportation, improvements in Townsend and White Sulphur Springs, initiate a formal recruiting effort for small innovating firms in our region, work to establish an East Helena Industrial Park. Thank you for your continuing support for the past 15 years. Didn't know it'd been that long. So.
A note is, Carrad has a possible buyer on
Yeah.
track right now.
Yeah,
Busting in like I own them. Sorry about that.
it's all right.
Forgot today was Monday.
No worries.
Or these two aren't on this list, it's on here.
It should be. It's on my
Yeah.
list.
Which is,
There's the fire department right there.
oh, okay, I didn't see that, okay.
We have a request letter from BCDC, and I have actually copies of this for you guys. These were provided by President Ernie Forey, and Broadwater County Development Corporation would like your consideration for a request of $15,000 in PILT funds. We are asking for $10,000 for BCDC and $5,000 to use towards the completion of the Silos Land Transfer Project. Over 440 businesses rely on BCDC for information and marketing assistance. BCDC has been helping local businesses, supporting local organizations, partnering with city and county since 1980. Let's see, BCDC has given 49 grants since the program started for the storefront grant project, and it's led to approximately $780,000 in improvements in Broadwater County. That's not including Lake Townsend. And that was BCDC partnership that fixed that issue. BCDC has worked with the RAC, the Resource Advisory Council, through USDA, and obtained over $21,000 in grants. Now there's 6 to acquire the Silos property for a total of $420,000 in grants. BCDC is a streamlined conduit for getting scarce improvement dollars billed directly into the community without the need for time-consuming contracting or public notice. We have been able to directly support the Tree Board, Rotary, Lions, Parks and Recreation, and other groups with community projects that enhance the business climate in Broadwater County. One of those is also the Raidersburg School. It goes on to talk a little bit more about the silos. And Extension received a grant of $40-some thousand this year, and that went through BCDC.
And what was that grant for?
Assistance for the county, within the county, on agricultural issues. They needed a nonprofit for the money to go to. And so they have a fund specifically for Extension, but BCDC is the conduit, the go-through conduit, like they just said in that previous paragraph. Let's see, as a final thought, Montana Code Annotated allows for counties to set aside 2 mills for economic development. Because of the unstable funding for future PILT payments, BCDC would like the commission to consider this in lieu of using PILT funds every year to help fund economic development in Broadwater County. So there is that. Those are all the letters of request. The others, I just put what the different agencies are and what we've been historically giving to them. Oh, I'm sorry, there's one more. Tree Board is requesting $2,000, and some of the projects completed last year are pruning of the small trees around the courthouse, museum, and senior center, removal of 2 large trees to make room for the CT building at the Broadwater Health Center, fertilization and weed spraying at the Broadwater County, at the hospital grounds, replacement of gravel and continued maintenance at Centennial Garden, a new tree on 2nd Street to replace one that died, landscaping. Pat and Mike Myers have worked a lot. Pat has saved us a lot of money in helping Mike Myers. Asphalt project behind the courthouse was one of them. Landscaping assistance, again, new sprinkler system, weeding, putting up the Christmas lights, Veterans Memorial Park weeding, and other beautification efforts. So, there you go. There's a list of some of our support letters.
Do we have a letter from the food pantry?
We don't have a letter, but we've always given to them. So I
Right.
think they've kind of gotten to the point where it's a standing request.
And what about CASA?
Same thing, standing request.
Okay.
So do you guys want to start with those and then move to the CIPs? Kind of start at the bottom and work the way up?
Sure.
All right, as of November 3rd, PILT cash had $739,377. We are expecting, anticipated PILT payment right now says $500,000. With the Ray Creek project, we actually should be looking at a bump from last year, which was $535,000. So, Townsend Fire Department for $10,000.
I'll make a motion that we get that.
I have nothing against, for the town fire department, but this PILT money has to, for everybody in the county, is federal money. When we're going with the rural, that's a little different because the rural interchanges with like 3-4 fire down there and up to the north. So the whole county does have some on that, but I don't think, not that I'd like to give to, I have no problem with giving to the town, but I don't think we can.
Why
No,
not?
I disagree, because it says at our discretion that we can give the money out at our discretion. And what the,
But
but
it
the
still
money is,
has to fall under the guidelines for that helps the whole county.
well, this is for, towards the fire truck, the new fire truck that they just got.
Right, yeah, I know, I have, like I say, I have no problem, I like to give them one, but I don't think we can legally.
Why not?
Because from my understanding, PILT, it has to benefit, it's federal money, benefit the whole county. Like I said, the rural fire does because rural goes the other end of the county. Just towns itself doesn't.
Actually, rural fire doesn't go beyond mile marker 100, J24,
There's
that's
agreement,
Three
though,
Forks Fire.
Between
And-
Three Forks
And if you'd let me
and-
finish, then I'll let you have the floor again, but this needs to be back and forth. And rural fire doesn't cover Townsend. Rural fire will cover as support only at the request of Three Forks Fire or Townsend. But neither one would call rural fire first. They're each responsible for their own areas. So the Townsend Fire Department, Townsend is in Broadwater County.
Also, if there was a fire, say at the ranch, of course, rural is gonna be called first, but wouldn't the Townsend Fire Department be called in too?
Yeah, mutual aid,
Right.
yeah, and probably Lewis and Clark would as well.
Mm-hmm. Cause I know I've seen them out, you know, by the
Yeah.
grace of God, they haven't been to our house, but
I'm gonna suggest, and I think maybe what we should do is have one motion for this first chunk, if that works for you guys, and
Well, I
and
think
deal
we should
with
do each one individually.
Okay, we can do that. So, I support $10,000 going to the Townsend Fire Department because Townsend is in Broadwater County.
I'll make a motion as such.
Do we have a second?
I'll support it if it's legal to do it for just the, I don't know how to word it, for just this one area.
I'm not gonna include in a motion if it's legal. We have a letter from the Department of the Interior. Townsend is in Broadwater County. We've given money to the school in the past to help with the new gym floor. If you wanna second the
tree board
motion.
is
Oh, yeah,
within the city.
if you wanna second the motion, I'll ask you to second it. If you want to not second the motion, I'll ask you to let us know and I will second it.
I will go ahead and second it then.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to give $10,000 to the Townsend Fire Department. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I'll make a motion that we give the tree board the 2,000 like we usually do. Hats off to Pat Blankenberg. He's done a great job around here.
Absolutely.
And now that he's retired, he'll be even more so.
Yeah. Do we have a second, Franklin?
I'll second under the conditions that it looks to me like it should be extended to both ends of the county.
And that would be a matter of working with that board to bring forward projects for different areas. So it has been moved and seconded to grant Tree Board their annual $2,000 allocation for PILT. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
You know, on the food pantry, if you read the newspaper, they're helping out more people all the time. And I don't know that 3,000's enough.
They haven't asked for any more. I'm a little bit hesitant to give more than they've asked for at this point, but I agree with you. Maybe we can address giving them what they've, what we've done in the past, and let them know if they need more help, let us know.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're drawn in, I think, quite a bit from businesses and different things like that, churches and stuff, I assume.
Mhm.
Can I just make a comment?
Sure.
Since I'm on the food pantry board,
Thank you, yes.
and I'm the secretary, I could pass it on to them. But we have our board meetings and nothing's been said about upping it or anything, so I think, I'll just pass it on to Don.
That
And
sounds
then if
great.
there's if he wants to contact you, then he can, but otherwise, if you don't hear from him, then I guess that's all, is it?
All right, very good. And I think what we'll do too is send letters to each of these and let them know where we stand and why, and then I'll just put a sentence,
And the
please let us know.
community has been very generous in donations, It's really nice. It's really nice, so.
Yeah, we have an awesome food pantry. You guys do a lot of very good work.
Well, the community donating throughout the year, so, you know, community garden and all that. And just people bringing in eggs, you know, a lot of people have chickens and they bring in eggs and stuff. So it's been pretty good and the youth did an enormous job on that Halloween one that they do every year. In fact, it's slightly above what it was last year, and that was well over, I think it was over 12,000 pounds.
Wow.
So, they do an awesome job in different communities and individuals too.
That's cool.
So,
You know, at the county fair, I've seen people buy pigs, for example, and donate it back in.
We've had I can't remember the exact number, but we've had some deer and elk. And so they haven't had to buy any beef, so that nobody's complained about that. You know, they're pretty, I mean, I would be too if I was using it. I would take ground beef or elk burger over hamburger. So, so then they're doing pretty good, so.
That's good to
But I
know.
will pass that on to Dawn.
Thank you very
Mhm.
much.
That being, pardon me. That being said, make a motion that we donate 3,000 guilt money to the food pantry.
It's been moved and seconded to grant food pantry $3,000 from Guild. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I'll make a motion. I'm gonna lose my voice.
I know.
That we donate and pay our membership dues to NBAC. It has been very, very worthwhile to lots of businesses in the county.
And do we have a second? I think there's been a lot of misinformation about MBAC, so I'm just gonna put it out on the table. This membership dues absolutely 100% does not support my husband's salary at all. Brian is funded through a whole different means than the memberships paid by any of the counties, any of the cities, or any of the businesses for MBAC. This is for economic development work in Broadwater County, throughout the county, for all citizens. So, is there a second, Franklin? All right, I will second that motion. It's been moved and seconded to grant MBAC the $15,000 membership dues. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
No.
All right, let the motion carry, 2 ayes, 1 no. And in the interest of full disclosure, my husband is an employee that does not derive his salary, one at all, from the MBAC dues
I think
paid by
we,
Broadwater County.
I think we need to look at some of the things that NBAC has helped here. PFM,
Yep.
the land team are out here. Townsend Marine, the list goes on and on.
Well, let's talk about ag. You know, you're a proponent of ag. On Ranch Feed and Supply, tremendous help from MBAC to help that business. True Value that went in after, but also the horse training business in Toston, right outside of Raidersburg, in the Crow Creek Valley, have been a business with MBAC for as long as I've been on the board. So I think this is, I think there's no question as to the good that MBAC has done for Broadwater County.
I agree.
In fact, could I get those 2 letters, or just the MBAC letter back? Just want to keep it with the records. Do we have tree board back as well? Yeah. You know, my gosh, you look at this, $4 million in regional businesses, 1.5 for commercial loans. I think that's enough said.
Are you
This is
competing
an
against the
emotional
local
thing.
banks?
Absolutely not. No, that's not even remotely true, Franklin. You need to start getting some facts before making these unfounded statements in meetings. Banks, in
Who's
fact,
talking?
Franklin, be an adult. You're in way over your head here. We're trying to help you. The MBAC board is not only made up of Broadwater County Commission representation, but is also made up of representatives from banks. So if you have any questions, I would encourage you to attend a meeting and ask the questions or sit back and listen.
Well, it's my understanding that people go to MBAC when the bank does not want to give them money.
Exactly. Banks by law cannot make risky loans.
Right.
That's why there is entities, HRDCs around the state, of which MBAC is one, that work with banks to offer either complimentary loans or the risky loans. Okay, let's move on to CASA.
What is CASA?
CASA is court-appointed special advocates.
For kids.
Yes, exactly.
I'll make a motion then that we give CASA for special legal services, which will help children, $1,000.
So we moved and seconded to give CASA $1,000 from Pilt. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Ready?
Yes, whenever you are.
BCDC for economic development, 15,000. And they have played a big, big part in improving our county. Not just Main Street businesses with their loans, just lots of different things, so I'm for giving them the 15,000.
Only thing in there I have against local banks, so,
Explain that,
Right.
please.
but I do, see where they have done some things for the county.
Is that a second? Franklin?
With some hesitation also.
It's been moved and seconded to grant BCDC $15,000 from Pilt for economic development. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye? Did you say aye?
I'm an abstain.
Okay. That's fine, the motion carries. We have 2 ayes and 1 abstaining. As far as BCDC goes, Franklin, you've been to a meeting with John Hahn. BCDC does no loans, so there's no competition with the bank. If anything, they help the banks by getting ideas out there and helping people to fund them. I think you saw the numbers with the storefront grants. BCDC has a matching grant of $500. The rest of it is through probably loans with State Bank or Opportunity Bank now. So there's no competition there. Again, please go to the meetings or ask questions and learn more about what these entities are. Rod and Gun Club, we already gave money for the help on their ceiling of $10,000. So to the CIPs, we have a column of balance that shows how much is in those at this time. And then, just a history of how much we've given. Some of these have already been paid, as you can see. The county buildings, we learned at a couple meetings ago that the hospital is a county building, which of course we knew, but it was nice to have the public reminded of that. They have some issues. Right now they've got some buckets in the ceiling catching water. This has to be addressed fast, or we're gonna end up paying a whole lot more than just for a roof repair. There's also some elevator improvements and some fascia improvements.
What do they need to do the roof? Do you
Um,
know the number at all?
I think it's about 60,000, and they sent us a letter, which I meant to bring, and I don't have it, and they were here for a meeting with us in person, so we all have a copy. But it was about 60,000 for the roof. And of course, what I would suggest we do is put that money into the county building CIP, and then have them submit a bill for the actual cost, so we're just paying for the actual county building work. But I think we should add a little bit in there. We also have a heater that's on the Fritz. That's gonna be an expensive,
Here or there?
up there. on our roof for the courthouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and those things don't ever go out in August, they
Oh,
always go
no.
out during cold spell.
Same as air conditioner.
Exactly.
Never goes out in the summer.
No, no. So I think we should, put some more money, again, we're sitting on 740,000. If we put a little bit in there, we can always add more, or we can leave it at 130 and, you know, always add more. What do you guys think?
Just leave it at that and add as needed.
Well,
It just
I
makes
would
it-
like to, oops, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would like to have a number in there so that we knew, you know, approximately where we're at. Because we just spent 46,000 on the back page of those ones.
Yep, so we're just under $700,000 balance at this point. We try and carry about 350 over to the next year so that we have the funds, should we need it for a year, to realize if there were an emergency.
Would we be wrong in putting 50,000 more into that?
I don't think so. I think anything we don't spend this year will carry over till next year, but I do think we need to have the money in the funds so that as the emergencies come up, we can streamline getting them taken care of, rather than having to have a meeting for the money and then have another meeting and then get the repair done. We just have the money available, goes through the building supervisor, and he can take care of what he needs to. Especially for emergencies like leaking roofs and heaters, I just think we need to plan ahead. So, yeah, I agree with the 50 or making it an even 200. What do you think, Franklin?
Yeah, go along with
Which,
Which,
that. Just add the 50 to it.
50? Okay. So who wants to make the motion?
so done.
All right. It's been, do we have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to add another 50,000 to the county buildings. CIP 4001, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. One thing to keep in mind with that is, in the past, we've been doing 60. So it's a little bit less
Oh.
than in the past. How much of that 130 has been used at this point, we don't know exactly because of Black Mountain and the switchover. It may be that a chunk of that's been used, and we'll be readdressing that here shortly.
We have to move for that a little bit.
Right, yeah, and I should have mentioned that before the vote, so if we wanted to make another vote, we can. But, that is less, the 50,000 is less than in previous years, and that 130 may be, lower due to the Black Mountain, change, we just don't have an exact number.
When I think about it, then I would suggest and make a motion that we go to 60,000. That will take it to 190.
190? Are
You
you,
know, hold it a minute.
okay?
The thing is, we can always come up with anything as needed.
But it's always nice to look and say, here's what we've got, you know, instead of having to, you know, I'm gonna go one step further. I'm gonna say, make it 20,000, that's gonna take it to the 200,000. When we look at the buildings around here and know that they're old and we're gonna have problems, we need to be ready for that.
Yeah, and again, it does streamline taking care of emergencies to have it in the county building CIP.
Mhm.
Franklin, will you second the motion?
I'll go along with the amendment.
It's actually a new motion, All those in favor of adding another $20,000 to the county building CIP 4001, please signify by saying aye.
Aye,
Aye, motion carries.
that's a nice round number in there.
Exactly, yes. All right, search and rescue has already been taken care of.
So they don't need more? Is that what you're saying?
We don't have a request from them for more. I do think we need to start building that, but I think we need to do so with the department head. And one of the things that we have that I think we need to talk about is a claim right now. we're working on the buildings. We know that 120,000 was spent on, you know, fixes that didn't fix the search and rescue building. Like Gwen called it a bullet on a Band-Aid, or a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Right now, they're having painting done and electric wiring done. I have not initialed the claim. I did want to talk to you guys about that. With the CIP, I'd kind of like to know what the thinking is, what the rationale is. Was this stuff that couldn't wait? I hate to put more money after bad into these buildings that are not working for us.
Well, will they have enough heat down there?
For the winter, yeah. They can use other meeting rooms, and right now they do have a working heater, kind of, to keep them above 50 degrees.
Do we know his win here, or is he in Vegas?
He's in Vegas,
Okay,
yeah. But I would like to talk to him about that claim,
right.
if that's okay with you guys. And I'll find it here in a minute. And just, if it's something that they have to do, that's fine. I just wanna know what the thinking is, yeah. So interoperability, that's kind of done. We will be responsible for some repairs in the future. That account is sitting at just over $1,000. I don't think we need to add more at this time because it's one of those that'll be in the probably distant future.
Okay.
You guys have any more information or want to debate that? All right, road. That may already be showing in the PILT total, I'm not sure, so I added it here to be on the safe side. Dana would like some more added to his CIP, but one of the things is he was able to put about 214,000 last year from just smart budgeting, where he's over his 33% reserves. So I would like to wait until there's a need or a specific plan, unless you guys have another idea.
No, I'm fine with that.
Franklin, you good with that?
Yeah.
Ambulance, we've been putting about 30,000 a year into that. We need 100,000 for a new ambulance, and we're coming up on that. I believe it's in 6 years, so we're on a good track there. What do you guys think? You wanna put some more money in there? Do you wanna do the same amount? Do you wanna do a lesser amount?
We've been doing 30,
Mm-hmm.
let's do 30 again.
That would put
So
us
moved.
at about 75,000. All right, do we have a
I
second?
thought there was 90,000 in that account for the ambulance.
It was last year. There's two different accounts. One of them they can use for equipment, and the other one just for savings for the ambulance. They did buy equipment. They got some grants last year, some really good grants. Bought a new, bunch of equipment. I'm not gonna even try and go through memory on what it was, what it's used for. So are you going to second the motion or not?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to move
I just
30,000.
had through the question, I thought there was 90,000 in that account.
And we get, through our mail, we get the updates on an ongoing
That's what
basis. So
I'm going on.
you can go ahead and look that through and see what that money was spent on for the particulars. So it's been moved and seconded to move 30,000 from PILT into the ambulance savings account. All those ambulance PILT account of 4,006. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Sheriff's vehicles. We have spent 82,000. She's gotten new vehicles, 2 new vehicles, each of the past 3 years. I think personally, we need to start building up that account again, but we also need a plan. I do not comfortable with any department just coming forward saying, this is what I want without any plan. And that's the one thing we're missing from that department head. Any thoughts?
No, I agree, we can, and I'd like to see that we can keep upgrading X
Yes.
number of vehicles every year.
Yeah, I think it's set up on kind of a rotation basis.
All right, so, the weapons, sheriff's weapons. There's 2,600 in that account at this time.
I think, help me if I'm wrong, but, did we not just buy new weapons?
Every deputy has new handguns and rifles, and tasers.
I think that was upgraded.
So we're pretty
A year or
good
so
there.
ago, but,
I'm fine with putting some money in there, just kind of
keep pushing
contingency.
there.
Should we go ahead and put another 1,000 in so that we can slowly build it up rather than having to address a big bill at one time?
I think that makes sense.
Okay. Do I
So
hear-
moved.
What if we put